Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan El-Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow.
I could really relate to what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying. It's when it comes to the ideal client, I've come to the conclusion that your ideal client needs to be someone who's gone through or going through what you've gone through. That's right. So in essence, you are looking for an ideal client who is basically just like you, because you are an expert on everything that you went through. And you understand what it means to be different. You understand what it means to observe how other people have dealt with differences. The hybrids that we are, empowered Middle Eastern women of Egyptian origin, who have had to grow up in every place on earth except for Egypt.
Yes.
And carry, whether we liked it or not, we carried the generational trauma of a people who have gone through a series of invasions, a series of changes and transformations that weren't always healthy. And our families and our parents and our heritage suffered from it. Sure. And we've inherited that suffering, but then we made something out of it, I think. That they couldn't. We had an opportunity that they didn't. That's true.
I think that is the main point, that I reflect back on my parents' life, and I reflect back on their decision to leave Egypt for a better future, and to kind of seek that, and then what they made of it. But that's the point. Like, now we keep talking about what's your purpose, what's your why, and we're always digging deep for that. I don't think for them that was truly the purpose of what they were doing. For them, it was just about socioeconomic conditions.
I don't think they had the luxury to think, what do we want?
No, exactly. And it stopped there. And I reflect on my mom. So my mom, when she moved back to Egypt with us, with my sisters and I, and that for her, like, that life stopped there. Her life stopped there. And now it was all about taking care of the girls. And now, every time she talks, she's like, I sacrificed my life for you. The interesting part, which I realized very recently, is now is when I'm rediscovering myself and understanding my purpose and reflecting on everything in my life and where I wanted to go and how I want the next 50 years to be and all of that. I'm at the same age that my mom decided that this is where life stopped. And for her, that's where it stopped. For me, that's where it's beginning. Now I am in control of my fate, my destiny, my purpose, and what I want to do, how I want to share, how I want to come from a place of service. And that is a completely different mindset, completely different place. And I mean, at the end of the day, I feel for her, because she had not been enlightened in that sense, understanding that there's more to life, as we were saying, about women and what you think your purpose is in life, that there's more than just bringing up the children, taking care of them, nurturing them to adulthood and then beyond, that you're always responsible for the kids. No, you're not. No, you're not. You shouldn't be. Yes,
and
of course.
That mentality, or that way of, that kind of relationship with the kids, from our experience, has been incredibly unhealthy for us as children, as well as for them as adults.
Exactly.
It didn't work. Those sacrifices were unnecessary.
And they become a burden one way or another on the kids, because rather than coming from a place of love and commitment, I come mostly from a place of obligation and paying back my debt. I feel indebted, rather than coming from a place of I of gratitude. So, and you know, I had spoken about this before. It's like coming from a place of gratitude versus coming from a place of being of debt. It's a whole different frame of
And the
mind.
energy, absolutely, and the energy of obligation begets an energy of obligation and whatever comes with it. And an energy of love begets an energy of love and gratitude and everything that comes with it. And I think a lot of our parents, if they were to be honest, they have complaints that they raise their children and they sacrifice this and that, and where are their children now?
And we're ungrateful.
We're ungrateful, we are rebels, we're rogue, we're just the black sheep, and we've gone off and basically they feel that they have been they've had a bad deal.
They got dealt a bad hand.
That was not what they were hoping to get.
Other parents and other kids, and that's what they do for them. And I was like, you know, you have to kiss my hand. And I was like, well, why should I kiss your hand?
Or you can kiss their hand, but it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
It's not exactly what you want it to be. It's not what you expected it to be. But
and I think that the beautiful thing, but also the very challenging thing is when my husband and I realized that we have to come from a whole different place raising our son, and realizing that we had to think of what kind of relationship we want with him, and how we want to maintain that relationship, you know, when he's 40, 50, 80, as long as we live. And that's the kind of thing that has drawn us to change a lot of our minds and our frames of reasoning to be able to build a healthy relationship. So, you know, build a friendship as well. Just maintaining that, you know, there has to be respect because we're adults, not because you're obligated to kind of, we're not gods on earth. It was just like, we're parents. We gave you life. And our mission in life, and we keep telling him that our mission in life is to ensure that you become the best version of you possible.
I am so happy to hear you say that.
Yep.
And I pray and I hope that a lot more parents are able to be that conscious. And because the time of just producing children and expecting things to go the way our parents did it is gone, long gone, because we've seen actually that way doesn't actually work.
Exactly.
And what you've described is the only way forward. And the first realization, or the first admission or acknowledgement that you need to make, like you just said, we're not gods. We are flawed humans,
yep.
But we are here to do the best we can by you and for you. And acknowledge that it's a mission. It's not an easy walk down the park. Oh, if you just follow the rules, you're going to get what you want. No, it doesn't work like that at all.
No. And ensuring that he also understands that he has to put in the work.
Yeah.
You know, that, and we talk to him like, you know, you're privileged because you don't have to work at a young age to provide, you know, for you and your family, for example. Or that I tell him, think of everything. We always go through a gratitude kind of exercise. Think of everything you have. And I tell him, there are billions, and I mean billions of others who don't have what you have. There are this and that and that. Understanding that your parents worked hard to get to this point in their life, and our parents worked hard before us, and then we built on that, and then it's your mission to build on that, but never to take anything for granted, but also to come from a place of not only of gratitude, but ensuring that when you reach a point where you start sharing and you start giving. And he's been sharing since he was a child, so it was always like, you know, these toys, you don't play with them anymore. Now you have to share them. So he had that in him. We made sure he had that in him from day one. But it is ensuring that mommy and daddy are, you know, we're doing great for us. Now it's your turn to start doing great for you. And you have to work on that. But more importantly, we are always here for you to give you guidance, we have unconditional love for you, but it is your mission. What should I be? Whatever you want to be. You don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or whatever it is. You could be anything. And, you know, he shifts accordingly. Like he's now into Fortnite and playing video games. I'm like, great. Are you interested in it? Yeah, I really love it. Do you want to learn gaming, for example? Then make it a passion. Make that passion something that you do, so you benefit from it, so you grow with it, rather than this just be something that takes away at your time and your days, and you're not benefiting from what comes with it.
Yeah, using it as a source for growth rather than a source for addiction, which a lot of, unfortunately, gaming is just one of those things that can be quite addictive. But I think our kids, I think I could be wrong, and maybe I'm overgeneralizing, but I do feel that the gamers these days, they game differently to the way we did.
Yes.
Right? There is more of their worlds are a lot broader. It's not just about playing the game, but there's a networking and socializing that goes through it. There's an entire ecosystem on its own. There's also the possibility of learning how to develop games. That was never a possibility present to us at all. Even the idea of a girl playing a game was a bit, unusual. But yeah, no, our kids' generation is definitely dealing with it very differently.
Very different. And the point is also that sometimes I'm like, okay, I have to come from a place of sympathy, actually, because they're being bombarded on a daily basis with so many inputs and things that are kind of, fighting their way for their attention. And that's why they have the attention deficit disorder. It's just that it's too much for us. Like, we joke, and then, like, we had TV that actually shut off at the end of the day. And we had to wait in the morning for it to restart, and we had to kind of get the then later on, when we had the Discman and the Walkman and stuff, and listen to the same songs over and over again.
Do you remember that? Oh,
yeah, I do remember it. I remember I got my first Discman in Germany, and I got one single, and I put it in my ear, and I was listening over and over and over again.
No matter how bad. No matter how bad or how good it was.
Exactly. So these are the kind of things that, for us, it was about going out and playing, and, in the playground or in the street or wherever you could find, just because that was our outlet. Now, for him, he's been home for 4 months, and he's found a way to communicate with his friends. They had video calls, they have voice calls, they communicate when they're playing, when they're gaming, and he physically, he hasn't been with them, and he misses them, but he hasn't lost touch. I used to have pen pals, like literally write a letter and wait for a month and a half to get the response. I was like, one page. I was like, oh my God, this is so interesting. And then send it back. Yeah. So that's that kind of connection. I mean, they're on a whole different level, but there's a lot of time I catch myself and I try to kind of amend it or change it in a way that alter my behavior and my thinking. Is I'm still holding him accountable for how I was brought up and trying to enforce that until I realize this isn't working. And then, and also another thing was, for example, in school, I was an A student all my life. I had to excel. It wasn't an option. It was a kind of an obligation. Again, it was a duty. And for him, I had to hold him from that place. How can my son, and I'm a doctor, I studied so hard for so many years of my life, not get, ace all his results. And then I realized, why am I doing this? And my husband, of course, is on the other end of the spectrum. He's like, he's smart. He studied just enough to get by and just enough to get the results he wanted. So he had a plan ahead of time, what he wanted. He studied enough for it, and he didn't exert any more effort. But it took me a few years to be able to readjust my mind and recalibrate in that sense. And now asking him, like every day, I used to tell him going to school, make yourself proud today. Yeah. Grow today. Listen today, in that sense. Knowing that you have put in your best effort, that is the part that counts. What that is graded and how that is graded and compensated in school, that's not up to you. But knowing that you made yourself proud.
I learned that lesson the hard way with the birth of my eldest. My eldest, he's 18 now. He's autistic. He didn't actually get diagnosed till he was 16. But raising him, we knew he found things difficult. Like his speech, he couldn't speak till he was about 5, for example. But also every day we just realized there were things that he would struggle with, noises that he could not, it felt like it was overwhelming. He couldn't he also had ADHD, because autism usually is comorbid. It's never on its own. So he could never sit in class, he could never absorb, he could never learn like the rest of the kids. And I come, like you, I think, I come from a very high achieving, the immigrant Egyptian family who you're going to work hard, going to work until you bleed hard. Right?
Oh, been there, done that.
Exactly. You're going to be an A-star student all the time.
Exactly. A- is a failure.
Oh my goodness, how dare you? An A-. You remember.
Yes, I do.
You're just gonna, yeah, you're just gonna be a prodigy. You're gonna be a genius. What? And it's gonna be academic. It's not gonna be, I don't care if you're a fantastic football player. I don't care if you are the next Beethoven. You are going to do well in science.
Yes.
Not waste
Not
of money.
arts, because arts are also dropouts.
Exactly. Who makes money from arts? And you, so you're doomed when you're an artist in our family. Yeah. So coming from that background, and then learning how to deal with an autistic child who, that kind of world and that kind of life is so far away and so alien and cruel, actually, to have that kind of expectations on any human being, let alone someone with special needs. That, I had to make a huge shift in my own beliefs, and because of course, being raised that way, inevitably you're going to inherit those ideas, and you want your kids to be successful, so therefore the formula that your parents told you about is the winning formula, right? Wrong.
Sure.
It never worked with you. It can't work with them. Definitely can't work with them. Not in this time and age that we live in. And so that's how I was forced to make that shift. And I'm really grateful that I have.
Yeah.
Because
it's a beautiful place to come from.
It absolutely is. You're no longer judging people by their grades or their intellectual abilities, or you're not narrowed. Your focus is not narrowed that small anymore. Yes. You're able to see all the colors of the rainbow in every single person that you're dealing with. And it's never again about intellectual ability. There's far more that we offer as human beings. And none of it is the same. No two people are the same. And that's just how beautiful that is. It just, for me, I just really love to get curious with people, and I never underestimate them. I think, wow, I wonder what you're capable of doing. I get excited just thinking about that.
I think that's a beautiful thing is as we grow, we lose that part of us that is like, let me explore. Let me try doing this. I might fail miserably, but let me try doing this. And that is a part that we lose touch with as we grow older, and as further expectations come in from us, and we have then checklists that we have to follow. And I think that is a beautiful thing that I am reconnecting with personally, and I'm asking, ladies I work with to reconnect. I'm asking my son. I keep telling him, do whatever. He's like, what should I do? Whatever you want. Explore. I keep, kind of saving boxes and recyclable materials for him. I was like, create something. What would you like to do? Paint, listen to music, dance, whatever it is you want. Just make sure that you are doing something on a daily basis that invigorates you. And I think that's the part that we're missing in our life. When we get into whether you want to call it the daily grind or the hamster wheel, whatever it is, we lose the part that we are invigorated anymore. That is a beautiful state to get back to. Something that excites us and something that makes us feel that tingling, childlike achievement sense. I started learning Spanish like about 40 days ago on an app. And every time I could grasp a word, I was like, yeah, I could do this, I understood that part. And it's like, exactly. And of course, it's actually, it's a lot easier for me. I thought it would be a lot more difficult. And yet again, my expectations, I thought it would be very difficult because it's like, I'm 42. Now I'm going to start learning a language. But actually now I'm using my age and my experience to understand the context. So I don't really have to learn each word. And there's a lot like French, and there's a lot like English, and there's a lot like, and I'm like, okay, my experience is now helping me pool here. But that's the thing, that these small things, small acts, if you love flowers and you decide to grow your own garden, or, I now put my basil and my parsley, my fresh those, I put them in cups of water in the kitchen so that I have some greenery in the kitchen. Those kind of small things that invigorate us on a daily basis, we lost touch with them. And thus, it became an overall grim view of life.
Because we've taken life way too seriously, way
Yeah.
too seriously. And actually, we need the way to, the way I've decided I'm going, and more every day to adopt as a perspective, is that it's all a game.
Yeah.
And we create games. So I'm playing a game of, I'm going to create a well-being center in Spain, probably Malaga, that will be both a clinic, a sexology clinic, as well as a relationship clinic, but also a place, a retreat for people to come and work on themselves from head to toe, inside out.
Count me in.
Right?
I'm there.
The beauty of Malaga and the beach and the sun, and you'll be crazy not to come out completely transformed. So that's the game I'm playing. And how am I playing it? Well, I'm seeing what are the pawns I've got.
Yeah.
And putting pieces together and collaborating with others who also have the same mission as me, and seeing how we could all play a good game.
Yeah.
And this is it. It's not about winning the game, but it's playing a good game.
Yeah. And I think that the bottom line is, when people were like, you're too positive during the testing circumstances we're all going through right now. And I got this comment actually of being too positive. I'm like, yeah. Well, first of all, because I understand I'm not delusional and I'm not disconnected from reality. So let's get that clear. I understand the repercussions, and I know there are a lot of very heavy repercussions for everyone around the world. But I also understand I'm not alone in this. So there are other billions of people who are getting impacted. But more importantly, I like to think of it as an opportunity, as an opportunity to slow down, to think, to reflect, to have gratitude for everything that we have and everything that I could dream of and everything that I would like to, plan for. And as you said, look at my puzzle pieces, see how much of it I have. What am I missing? Not if, it's how can I get the missing pieces? Who can I collaborate with to get that? And those kind of things, those kinds of questions, then, kind of give me a whole array of answers. And that in itself is a beautiful thing. So that I'm grateful for. So let me go back and revisit. And I've been revisiting my puzzle pieces, I think, every day for the past 4 months. And I think, Stacy is an amazing lady I work with. I call her my branding and technical guru. And I think I'm driving her mad, because like every 2 days she's getting a whole new plan from me. Okay, this is the new product, and this is the new program, and this is the podcast, and these are the things. But it's a great game of creation. And when we come from that space, rather than a consumption, or rather than a game of suppression, I get to create.
Get to whatever comes up, and believe me, a lot comes up, and miracles happen. This is a space where you get to meet people that you never thought you'd meet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just reflecting on this yesterday. I cannot believe the kind of clients that come to me. I don't advertise, as you all know. Yeah. I don't use social media half the time I should be, and yet, because I know what I'm doing and I'm working hard on it, the clients that come to me, they boggle my mind that little humble me is able to help people who have helped me once upon a time, have inspired me once upon a time. You know what I mean? So they're larger than, politicians in their own right, or celebrities making the world a better place, and they think I can help them. And that for me is just like the universe telling me, you're doing something good. You keep doing it, because there are people who need you. Yeah. And it's the very people that you've needed at some point. And it's always the universe telling me the same message over and over again, that we are one.
Yes.
and that the sole purpose of us being here is to connect and to collaborate and to help one another and to heal one another in relation to one another. And anything else just falls away. It's not important.
You just summed it up. I think this is where we're going to sum up this conversation. You summed it up beautifully.
Inspired by you, as usual.
We're going to sum up this conversation here, but apparently we can have a lot more of this.
Oh, I could talk to you for ages. It's been so lovely catching up with you.
Same here, babe. Same here. It was lovely.
Same here.
And
we need to do it again soon.
Definitely. We need to have a schedule, actually. So it was like, we have a slot for, let us, kind of let our imagination run wild and our tongues be unsuppressed in any way.
That's the dream space, isn't it? It's creating a space where you can empty anything that's clogging, mm-hmm. and take a proper look at it. Say, oh yes, I could do something really good with this one. Oh yeah, this one I don't need it anymore. That kind of thing. Always need to do that.
Yes. Okay, we'll sum up here.
Okay, Harry.
Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananulbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode, and until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.